Seeing as how generations 1, 2, and 3 of Pokemon have all gotten remake games, and in the case of Kanto, it's actually gotten another redo in the form of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Diamond and Pearl are logically the next Pokemon games that will be remade. Today, I thought I would throw all you Generation 4 fans a bone and share some of my own thoughts and ideas for what I'd like to see in potential DP remakes. Who knows when they'll actually end up happening, but regardless, I made a giant list of features and ideas a revamped Sinnoh could have, so I hope you guys enjoy this wishlist and speculation type video. The first thing I want to talk about, and this is pretty obvious, but I think Diamond and Pearl Remakes will be on the Nintendo Switch and have an updated visual style that matches the other Pokemon games on the system. While I could see Game Freak going with a Let's Go visual aesthetic, if only so they could design the overworld to be more faithful to the original game's grid-based layout, I feel like DP Remakes would benefit massively by having the more realistic proportions that Sword and Shield's art style has. Imagine how awesome it would be to see Sinnoh's iconic landmarks like Jubilife City, Spear Pillar, Route 216, and the Three Lakes redone in an HD style, not bound by trying to keep everything constrained to a grid. Sounds pretty sweet if you ask me, and DP Remakes having remade visuals is honestly one of the big selling points in my opinion. Another enhancement I'd like to see, and this is on the smaller, relatively unimportant side, is that I think Diamond and Pearl Remakes could have the gym leader order that was in Pokemon Platinum, rather than the original Diamond and Pearl. We'll be talking a lot throughout this video about additions Diamond and Pearl Remakes could have from Pokemon Platinum, because really, every Pokemon remake has included elements from their predecessors' third version games. But to focus in on the gym leader order, I think DP Remakes will have the sequence that Pokemon Platinum did, where Fantina was the third gym leader you fought, then Maylene, then Crasher Wake, instead of Diamond and Pearl's order, which was Maylene, Crasher Wake, then Fantina. Even though this is a minuscule detail, I felt like it really helped with the flow and progression through Sinnoh and Pokemon Platinum. Being able to challenge Fantina right when you arrive in Hearthome City was nice because you didn't have to backtrack there later in the game like in the originals. So I really hope this gym order is incorporated into potential remakes. Okay, let's talk about Sinnoh's Safari Zone, the Great Marsh. In recent Pokemon games, they've been steadily moving away from the idea of a standard timed Safari Zone, and we've gotten somewhat unique replacements like the Friend Safari in Kalos. Because of this, I get the feeling DP Remakes are going to ditch the old format of the Great Marsh and instead transition into something similar to Sword and Shield's Wild Area. It can still be called the Great Marsh, and perhaps a portion of the terrain is still wet and soggy, but in addition to that, I think they'll expand the area to cover the giant plot of land in between all these towns, and make it large enough that you can freely roam the area and encounter all sorts of Pokemon, including ones not native to Sinnoh. One of Sword and Shield's greatest strengths was using the wild area as a community hub of sorts, where you could trade with people, battle them, exchange league cards, and I think an updated and enlarged Great Marsh could function similarly. Next up, I want to go over an idea for how the Pokétch could be implemented. If you don't remember the Pokétch, it was the device that took up the bottom screen of your DS during your time in Diamond and Pearl's overworld, and had a ton of different apps you could use. There was a map, calculator, coin flip simulator, step counter, type effectiveness chart, and so on. Assuming Diamond and Pearl Remakes will be on the Switch, which doesn't have two screens, the Pokétch would have to be modified slightly, and I think it could be added into the corner of the screen as a new user interface feature. It would still have a myriad of apps you could play around with, and you could use left and right on the D-pad to cycle between the various apps, press up on the D-pad to either put an app into full screen or use some kind of feature, like if the coin flip app is active, it would flip the coin, and you could press down on the D-pad to hide the Pokétch entirely and preserve the no UI look that Pokemon usually has. Time to talk about a big change I see happening in these remakes, and that is the removal of HMs. In recent generations, Game Freak has finally realized that HMs are incredibly restrictive, and they've replaced them with different obstacle clearing methods. In Gen 7, we had the Poke Ride system, and Let's Go, your partner Pokemon could clear obstacles, and in Sword and Shield, you can now use things like your bike to traverse water. There's definitely going to be some kind of equivalent to those things in Diamond and Pearl Remakes, and if I had to throw out my own idea, I think some kind of Rotom device would probably make the most sense. This is the Sinnoh region after all, Rotom's old stomping ground, so maybe Professor Rowan hooks you up with a Rotom backpack or bracelet that can transform. Regardless of what the method is, I don't think HMs will return in Sinnoh remakes, and the process of getting past route obstacles will thankfully be streamlined by some new invention. Next up, I want to talk about Pokemon contests. I think they're going to return with all the improvements Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire introduced to them, and I think we'll see some new ideas brought in as well. Now that your character model appears in battles, I'd love to see trainers and contests dressing up for the occasion and doing moves alongside their Pokemon. Adding on to that, I think Alicia will return from Oros and reprise her role as the player's guide to this activity. I imagine the player's initial encounter with contests will be changed so that Alicia is the one that introduces them to you and takes you under her wing because your mother in Gen 4 is a former contest champion. On a somewhat related note to contests, another area I think will be updated with many of Oros's improvements is the underground. This is the network of caves beneath Sinnoh that had two unique activities you could do. You could either mine the walls for various items, including heart scales, gems, and fossils, or you could set up your own secret base in its labyrinthian tunnels. Considering the Gen 3 remakes made so many great improvements to the concept of creating a secret base, I see no reason why DP Remakes wouldn't implement those upgrades into the underground. The main features I'd like to see added are the ability to turn your secret base into a pseudo-gym, and making it easy to download and explore other people's bases. In Oros, I was constantly able to check out people's hideouts while I played the game, and when we return to Sinnoh, I'd love to be able to do that seamlessly while playing through the main story.